Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're so excited to have you here for our very first Head Start session of this week. My name is Asia O'Connor, and I'm a member of the orientation team here at Georgian College. And we just want to say a big welcome to your first Head Start session. So first, I want to thank you for being here, whether it's this morning or this afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. These Head Start sessions are really important in providing you some key information to make sure that you are successful during your transition to the college. So we really hope that you find these sessions valuable and informative. I just want to take a moment to highlight how this session will flow for everyone, as this might be your first time using Microsoft Teams. So we do have a wonderful panel here to support you from our international team, as well as we have a couple of folks from our Office of the Registrar here to help in support and answering any questions that you have about supports and services, particularly to our international students. So if you have some questions, I would encourage you to take a look at the bottom of your screen. You will see an icon that looks like two speech bubbles. You can click that and then it'll open up the Q&A on the right-hand side of your screen. And that is where you can post your questions. So you can post your questions at any time throughout the session, and it will not be public. It'll come to all of us here on the call. And we will do our best to get through all of those questions in today's session. So I'd encourage you, while we're going through, just open that up so that if you do have something that comes to mind, you can definitely post it there. I'd also just like to take an opportunity to introduce the Say My Name initiative that has been started by Enactus Georgian College, which is one of our incredible student clubs in addressing feelings of social isolation in our community, particularly around mispronunciation of our names. So to assist with this, we really encourage you to include the phonetic spelling of your name in your screen name or in your student emails through your experience here at Georgian. We're supporting this initiative by our virtual backgrounds. This is also a really cool feature that as you get through this week, we will also open this opportunity up for all of you to get your own background if that is something that you wish as well. So with that, I'm going to say a big welcome to our first kickoff of Head Start, and I'm going to turn it on over to Sid to introduce the rest of the folks. Over to you, Sid.
Thanks, Aisha. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending where you're joining us from, which part of the world, and what time of the day it is for you. My name is Sid Taneja, and I work at International Center as International Student Service Officer. And as Aisha says, I'm going to quote her, this title means nothing to you. What I do is I make sure that, just like Aisha, if you have any issues in your transition, if there's anything you're feeling as an international student, if you have any issues that's unresolved, or if you're feeling that there's some kind of break in your smooth transition from your home country to Canada or to the academic journey, I'm here to support you as a friend. So today's session is about immigration and program application. When I say immigration, it's about processes, how to reach us, different things you should be aware of, and program application as in program deferral or program change or important dates associated with the application. Now, I hope that you all have reviewed the video that was posted as an embedded link under resources to review before you visit this session. If you have done so, you must have a lot of questions with you to ask, and that is good if you have it. If you do not, then please listen to the questions of other students, because I'm pretty sure that those questions are common for everyone. Make sure if you have questions, they are generalized questions and they are not case specific questions. The question should be, if something happens like this, what should be done? Not like, my case is this, I want to know what should I do? So this video will be recorded and will be available to review later on as well. Just in case if you want to go back after this video ends, with the Head Start ends, you want to review this information later. Make sure to ask as many questions as possible. We are here to support you in an informal way. It's better you ask us as friends rather than asking your friends with zero expertise. We want to give you and provide you with the correct information, and your friends do not have the expertise for that, and you might risk your future by having false information. I love to talk and talk, so I'm going to shut now. Over to you, Jenna.
Thanks a lot, Sid. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jenna, as Sid mentioned, and I'm one of the student immigration advisors. I'm hoping that most of you have had the chance to review the video, which you have already had met me in the video, and I went over in more detail some important aspects about your immigration and maintaining your status in Canada. I am going to share just a small presentation with you this morning that goes over some of the main points. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now, and yeah, so let's get started. My name is Jenna, as I said, and I am one of the regulated immigration consultants, one of 3 that we have here at Georgian College. And our role is really to help you maintain your immigration status, and that could include any of the things that you see listed on the screen. So it might include extending your study permit when you're inside of Canada, questions about working on and off campus, co-op work permit, extending your co-op work permit, helping you with your post-graduation work permit once you do become a graduate, as well as visa or TRV extensions. I do want to stress, and as I stressed in the video, it's really important to remember how much your immigration is linked to your academics. Immigration directly follows your academic plan and your academic progression. So the best thing that you can do for your immigration is be successful academically. I also want to just talk briefly about 3 main documents, and some of you may or may not have seen these yet, depending on where you're tuning in. If you are inside of Canada, then you should have received some of these documents at the port of entry. If you are in your home country and you've applied for your study permit, but it has not been approved yet, then this is good information for you to be aware of whenever you do get approval and proceed to Canada when you're eligible to do so. So number 1, here we have an example of the study permit. And the study permit is the most important document that you have while inside of Canada. It is your status in Canada, and it tells you what you can do and for how long. So you can never let this permit expire, and this is the main document that we would be supporting you with and helping you with throughout your studies to make sure that it remains valid. Number 2 that you can see on the screen is it says work permit, but it's really your co-op work permit, or the work permit that you are required to have if there's any work component as part of your program. So this doesn't have to be co-op. It could also be placements, your clinical, internship. It could be couple of hours, it could be 8 months, it could be paid, it could be unpaid. If you have a work component as part of your program, which would be indicated in your letter of acceptance, if you do, then you also require a separate work permit or co-op work permit in order to complete that work component. And then number 3 that you see on the screen is just an example of a visa, or we could also call a TRV, a temporary resident visa. And this is a sticker in your passport that basically, think of it like your ticket to Canada. It would allow you to proceed to Canada and present yourself at the port of entry. And this would only be for students who are from visa required countries. If you're not, then you would have something called an ETA, electronic travel authorization, that you would have in place of this sticker. So those are the 3 main documents. Again, study permit, most important. And I should also mention, it might be difficult to see on the screen, but your study permit would also include the condition that would allow you to work on or off campus if you're eligible to do so. And then lastly is just a slide here of how to reach us. So we are all working remote as well, and an easy way for you to reach us is by filling out an immigration assessment form on the student portal. And this you can find through the Immigration Support tab underneath the International Center. Through this immigration support tab, you'll also find lots of quick links. So these are commonly asked questions that we get from students, and we link you directly to where that question is answered on the IRCC website. And here is also where you can register for any of our remote sessions. So if this wouldn't apply to you yet, but later on throughout your studies, if you had to apply for your postgrad work permit or to extend your study permit inside of Canada, we offer remote sessions that would explain in detail how to complete that application. And I think that's it that I wanted to cover sort of in a nutshell of the larger presentation that was pre-recorded. So I guess we can probably start with any questions that students have after watching the video or after hearing me do this short recap this morning.
Surely, we do have a lot of questions already.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just let the students know a couple of things. First of all, if you have questions related to immigration applications or specific registration related questions, when I say registration, deferral, not really deferral, but dates and basics of registration related, we would love to answer that. If you have any questions other than that, then we won't be able to answer that in this session, but we can answer that in the live chat, or you can attend if the questions are related to other departments, you can attend the Head Start session of that particular department. It's going to be a week long, so make sure you attend that particular department's session. Sorry. We have Sonia and Ashley with us, who are experts in their department, who's going to help us with, again, applications, program change, registration related questions. So again, please make sure you ask specific questions that is going to be relevant to this session. Okay, Jenna, first question. You know what, before starting that, Jenna, would you like to share the student portal page first, or would you like to answer the questions first? What would you prefer?
Maybe the portal page would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay, so let me share the screen. So what we're going to show you now is how you can access the immigration page on student portal, and rest Jenna will narrate. Jenna, we can't hear you.
Thanks, Ed. Up top, exactly, you'll click on International. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see a list of just topics related to international, but you're going to click on the Immigration Support tab. Perfect. And then if you just click directly on Immigration Support, perfect, you'll get to our main page. So you can see here, if you scroll down a little bit more, Sid, the first section here are going to be our online information sessions. So these are the ones that I was mentioning. If you need help with applying for your co-op work permit once you're inside of Canada, or post-grad or study permit extension, we do offer remote WebEx sessions that can help you with that. And if you scroll down even further still, more. Oh, up, sorry. Okay, assessment form. Yes, perfect. So right there, if you want to make an appointment with one of the student immigration advisors, you can click on that assessment form, fill out, it will take a minute to do so, some of your information to give us an idea of what is it that you're needing help with. And we have Sapna and Lee who work on our team as well, who you'll probably be corresponding with, and they would assist you in either providing you with the information that you need, or if it does require an appointment, helping you to arrange that. And on the right-hand side, you'll see some sections there related to travel and academics and study permits. So these are all the quick links that I mentioned. So if extending your study permit or compliance for study permit, for example, if you were to click on that, would bring you to the page where IRCC would talk about your responsibilities as a study permit holder to remain compliant with your study permit conditions. So Lots of information on this page, probably somewhere that you'll be visiting frequently, even after you've started your program and throughout your studies at Georgian. Thanks, Sid.
No problem. While we are here, let's show students how they can access the COVID-19 FAQ page for international students. So once you're on the main page of georgiancollege.ca, you will see this beautiful orange highlighted bar. Click on COVID-19 update page right here, and then wait for the internet to respond. Still waiting. Still waiting. There you go. So right side, you will see information for international students. When you scroll down a bit, when you click on that, this entire page is dedicated to the frequent questions that international students have, be it related to quarantine or coming to Canada, some support systems like live chat available for you, FAQs related to upcoming semesters, finance fees, immigration and travel right here. And now, Jenna, maybe you can brief on this.
Yeah, so this is a section that we try to update when we hear about any sort of new announcements by IRCC. So a lot of these are related to your immigration and a lot of the travel questions that we get. So if you're wondering sort of in general about your situation, this is a good place to start, because most of the time, you know, our information is going to be pretty much similar to what you're going to read here. So instead of waiting for an appointment with us, sometimes you may be able to find your answer here on your own. So a good place for you to certainly review, especially if you're planning to travel to Canada whenever you're eligible to do so. You'll want to review this section and the section above about traveling to Canada. Okay, so let's start with the questions now. First question, can I know when will students from India be allowed to travel? Maybe Jenna, I'll ask you to answer the ones that you have the expertise in. General questions, I can answer that as well. Again, any rule that has been announced by the federal government, it's between the federal government and the other countries. We get to know at the exact same second as you do, so we have no further information on this right now. I just started my process of deferring my intake to September. Is it necessary for me to attend the orientation now? Maybe this, Aisha, this is for you. Is it necessary for me to attend the orientation now, or should I take it with the September intake?
Sure, I can take this one. So if you've already deferred and it's confirmed and you're going into the September intake, I would encourage you probably just to do the September one in case there are any new information. I mean, it won't hurt you to participate. You're more than welcome to now that you have access to it, but maybe some of the content might be a bit more relevant depending on how we are preparing for the summer intake. So 100% attend the September one. I would say it's up to you. If you feel like you want to gather a bit more knowledge about the college, knowing that you're coming, that's okay as well.
Perfect. So I won't be taking any questions which are not session specific. So if your question is not being answered, that is the reason for that. Can I change my program for May 2021? If yes, then how? I will let Sonia.
Maybe Sonia.
Yep. Yes. So you're eligible for a program change. Basically how you would do it, you can fill out the program change form, which can be found online, and then you would email it to the international office. So the specific email is intlrecruit@georgiancollege.ca. And then we can help you further once we get your program change form.
Beautiful. I've completed my registration process for my program and I got my timetable, but there is no specific lecture for my general program. So if you do not see anything in your Blackboard or timetable yet, but if you have added your course into it, the possible reason could be that the faculty might not have added it from their side into Blackboard, and that's why you're not able to see it. Secondly, if you're not able to see any general or communication courses, one of the reasons could be your program does not have any general or communication courses in it. So it's not mandatory. It's not for everyone. If it shows you that you need to add it to your program, only then you need to add it. It's not mandatory for everyone. It's very program specific. Should be allowed. As many universities came in support of international students that they should be allowed to enter Canada. What's Georgian's take on this? Again, none of the institutions in entire Canada, all provinces, institutions have no say in this. It's a federal decision. Universities or colleges cannot go and oppose a federal decision. When are we supposed to change our program? What's the procedure you have mentioned, Sonia? This is more like when can we change the program?
Yep, so the deadline to change your program for summer 21 will be day 5. So semester starts next week, Monday, I believe. So the deadline would be May 21st.
Okay, beautiful. Jenna, ma'am, I want to know more about co-op work permit, whether we have to have it during the co-op semester or at the beginning of course.
Yeah, so your co-op work permit is mandatory for you to begin your co-op inside of Canada. So ideally, I'm not sure if the student question is if you're either inside of Canada or not inside of Canada. You should have applied for your study and co-op work permit together. So when you do enter Canada at the port of entry, ideally you'd be issued both documents. Sometimes that happens, sometimes that doesn't. If that did not happen for you and you are inside of Canada, then I would recommend that you register for one of the sessions that Sid showed earlier, where you can do that on the portal for co-op work permit only. So you can apply for this. There's no charge inside of Canada. There are some changes and some flexibility around that for beginning your co-op, but that would be for you to discuss with your co-op consultant. But in short, yes, if you're inside of Canada, you definitely need a co-op work permit to begin your studies, and actually you need that co-op work permit much earlier than that and show proof of that to your co-op consultant so you can have access to apply for jobs.
Amazing. Next question. Do we need to show fund for us to continue our studies at Georgian if a student is having a second 1-year program? Do they need to show their proof of funds in order to extend the study permit for that?
So I'm assuming in this case that the student is starting for their first program, completing it, and then you're thinking of applying for a second program and will apply to extend your study permit. At that point, as part of your study permit extension, you will have to show financial proof. Not necessarily proof of the funds for the entire second program, but financial proof and your plan for your finances is part of that application. So I would encourage you in the future, when you are applying to extend your study permit, attend one of our sessions and we can explain that in more detail.
Beautiful. So Ashley, next question is for you. So the student deferred from winter intake to summer intake, and because of that, the fees increased a bit. Now the student what student is asking is, what is the deadline to pay the balance fee that got increased, and by what method can they pay it?
No problem. So fees are due on the 11th day of classes. So with the semester beginning next Monday, the 17th, so full fees are due May 31st for all students. So whatever your remaining balance is, you would need to pay by that deadline to avoid any late fees occurring on your account. For international students, we recommend students pay by Flywire, and if there's any questions or issues with that, you would contact Flywire directly with any concerns that you might have with the payment process.
Beautiful, thank you.
Welcome.
Next question, Jenna. My course is officially for 1 year, starting from May 17. My student visa is going to expire on 30th April next year. Can it be extended if the need be?
Yes, so you can apply to extend your study permit inside of Canada, and again, we can help you with that application. Normally, your study permit should have been issued to you for the length of your program, plus an additional 90 days at the end. And the reason for the 90 days is that it allows you a little bit of extra time to decide what you're going to do next, apply to extend your study permit if you are starting a second program, or apply for your postgrad. So if your study permit, and this goes for any scenario, is going to expire before you're going to complete your program, you must apply to extend before it expires. Ideally, at least 4, maybe sometimes even 6 months before it expires. And in order for you to get a new permit and extend that. And we can, again, help you with that process at that time.
Beautiful. I don't know under whose portfolio this will fall. So a general question, what is the meaning of industrial placement?
Sorry, if you know, Ashley.
I was just going to say, likely it's just an industrial placement, meaning work experience, which you're doing industry field placement. So you're getting industry work experience. You're doing the co-op within the field of study that you're studying, essentially.
Amazing. Thank you. Next, Jenna, if someone opts for a 1-year program, which is a second 1-year program, after completion of their first 1-year program, would they get a 3-year work permit as well?
Yeah, good question. So yes, I mean, we can never guarantee the exact length of the postgrad and if you would be able to be approved a postgrad work permit, but generally speaking, yes, you would have to complete a 2-year program or 2 1-year programs added together to equal a total of 2 years, and that would allow you for up to a 3-year postgrad work permit, and 3 years is sort of the maximum amount of time for the postgrad. So yes.
And from where do we get study permit? I'm assuming the student is in their home country right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so your study permit would be issued to you by the border security officer when you enter Canada. So at the port of entry, you're going to meet we call them the CBSA officers, and they're going to be asking you some questions, talking to you, especially around this time, about your quarantine plan. You're showing your letter of acceptance. There's more information about that on the website, but that is when you would be issued your study permit and also your co-op work permit if you apply for that initially. I would mention, though, if you did not apply for your co-op work permit, or you did and the officer does not give you one, maybe let them know. They always have the right to not issue that to you, and that's fine. You can still apply for it inside of Canada. But if you do have it in your letter of acceptance and you're not issued to it and you're still in front of the officer, you could very politely let them know that your program also requires a co-op work permit, and they may or may not issue that to you, but it's worth you asking.
Yeah, that's a good point, but make sure, as Jenna said, be very polite about that. Do not get aggressive that you did not give me co-op work permit. Next question is for Sonia. Sonia, currently I'm the student is enrolled in mechanical diploma, but I can't travel to Canada due to travel ban. So can I change my course to the one which can be attended online?
Yes, so depends on which course you might want to switch to see if it's still available, if we still have timetables available. Again, the process would just be choosing the program that's delivered online, submitting the program change form to us at International, and then we would be processing the program change.
Beautiful. Just a quick update for the students. If you are hitting enter after posting your question and the question is not being answered, that's because we are going sequence wise. I see multiple repeated questions. It's just delaying the process of reaching other questions. So please, as soon as you press enter, we will get to the question. So please do not repost it again and again. We will get all the help for the work permit as well as after the course, correct? When do we start preparations for the work permit, visa, post-graduation or the final semester? So the student is asking that will they get the support to apply for post-grad work permit, and at what point should they start applying for it?
So the answer is yes. If you want assistance, and we do encourage you to attend one of our sessions, or maybe by then it'll be in person, but we can assist you with explaining the process, the application. You would have to submit it yourself though, and you would not be eligible to apply for the postgrad work permit until you have been deemed a graduate by the college. So this usually is maybe three to 4 weeks after you complete your classes of your final semester. You cannot apply for it early.
Beautiful. So the next question is, Jenna, that the student says they are in a program. Both their programs on the website says 1 year, but actually it's 8-month program. So they want to ask, when they apply for postgrad work permit, will it be counted as 2 1-year programs or total of 16-month program?
So that's a great question. So when the officer is looking at your application, they're looking at 2 things. So you're going to be submitting your transcript and also the letter of completion from the college, which will state the length of the program. So if the program on the website is listed as a 1-year program, then how it will be written by the college in your letter of completion is also going to be a 1-year program. And we know when IRCC is reviewing this, they go by what the DLI, or the Designated Learning Institute, is listing as the length of your program. So if it's a 1 year, it will be written as a 1 year on your letter of completion, and it would be considered as a 1-year program.
Perfect. Sonia, what is the last date to change my program?
Last date to submit the program change form is day 5, so that is May 21st.
Perfect. How to know whether we are having a co-op in our program or not? I can answer this. All you have to do is, when you see your letter of acceptance will have the name of the program with the code. Just go on a program web page. If you just want to confirm that, go on a program web page on the website, and under that you will see whether your program has a co-op or not. I'm in India. My classes will start from 17th May. So I have a question that, can I attend online classes except defer my course? I can answer this one little bit as well. If you're in a program which is in person, then you cannot start with just the online classes. What you can do is you can either change your program or you can defer to the next intake, or follow the email that was sent to you by the program department, academic department. Okay, I'm finding a problem in registration as I'm from computer programming. So I want to know that how many subjects should I opt? How many courses should I opt? How can a student get to know that? Ashley, any idea on that?
Sure, yep. So if you were to log into your Banner account and you go to your recommended courses, it'll show you which courses you're supposed to register for in this specific term, in addition to the number of courses. From there, you can, at this point, you'll have to register for courses through AddDrop, and then you can search for those courses there. If you're having issues with registration and you would like some one-on-one assistance, we have hub sessions where you're able to log on and get some one-on-one help to help you through that process.
Perfect, thank you.
And Sid, I'm going to interrupt a second just to share with students that the sessions that Ashley was just referring to, we have 2 of them in our schedule for Head Start. So Thursday and Friday, they're scheduled right at noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you are interested in hopping into those are in our schedule, as well as all of the other one-on-one support that Jay does as well. So tune into that if you are wondering about Blackboard, if you're wondering about Banner and registration. Jay covers all of that Thursday and Friday. Okay, thanks.
Beautiful. Shanna, hi, my IELTS will expire in July, but my classes are going to start soon. Will I need to get it done again if I'm traveling after my IELTS expiration date?
Well, maybe Ashley or Sonia can jump in, because I think that has to do maybe more with admissions, but I would assume that if you have already applied and are accepted to the program with your valid IELTS, that isn't, something that the border security officer is going to be checking for at the port of entry. So unless it has impacted your admissions, I don't believe that that you would need to redo that.
Yeah, that's correct. So if there's no travel implications from an admission side, if you have your letter of acceptance, then your IELTS can expire, and that's fine, and you can still come to Canada.
Perfect. Okay, my study permit says field of study computing/IT while I'm enrolled in the PRJM, which is Project Management Program grad certificate. I want to know if the field of study mentioned is wrong or if it is not an issue.
So that probably is indicating IT, computer studies, maybe. I'm assuming because you either changed programs or you had originally wanted to go into that area. The field of study, if you change your program, isn't really important. You don't need to change your study permit just to change that condition. However, if there's other conditions on your study permit that specifically restrict you from changing programs or going into another field of study, then you do want to pay attention to that. And this sometimes is important if you're in a health-related field and there may be health restrictions on your permit, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. Otherwise, it's to change your program, that field is fine if there's no restrictions.
When and how to apply for co-op?
If you're talking about the co-op work permit, apply as soon as possible inside of Canada if you did not receive it at the port of entry. In terms of applying for a co-op job, you will be connected with a co-op consultant, and I believe you would even have a co-op class this semester prior to you going out on co-op, and that person would assist you in more detail with how to actually apply, where to apply, and all of those procedures leading up to your actual co-op term.
Give me some time here, I'm just filtering the questions. Okay, after completing a 2-year program, if I want to study further, how can I extend my visa permit?
So it is an application that you would do online, and you could only extend your study permit from inside of Canada. So you would be remaining inside of Canada and applying to extend that. The question read study visa, so just keep in mind that your study permit, if you think back to that screen that I showed earlier, your study permit can never expire. Remember, that's your most important document. That is the permit, that is the status that you would be applying to extend. Your visa or TRV, that sticker in your passport, would be expiring at the same time as your study permit, but it is a separate application. So remember that sticker, your visa or TRV, is like your ticket to Canada. It is what allows you to travel to Canada. So in the future, at the end of your 2-year program, if you want to study more, you would submit an application to extend your study permit. Once that is approved, then if you wish, you could also submit a separate application to get a new TRV or a new sticker in your passport. And I just want to stress that you must apply to extend your study permit before it expires. You can never let your study permit expire while inside of Canada.
Thank you. So Jenna, this one is more of a post-grad question. Hi, for 1 year, not post-grad, but a further immigration question. For 1 year course remote classes, if a person finishes half of the program from home country due to travel ban, will she get PGWP points as well as CRS for PR?
So if we look to what IRCC is saying right now with regards to the postgrad work permit, you are allowed to continue to study remotely outside of Canada. Right now, they have up until the end of the year, so until December 31st, 2021. Moving on into 2022, any studies completed outside of Canada will not count toward your postgrad work permit. So having said that, it would mean that as the date is today, and that date could still change, but you would have to proceed to Canada before the end of the year in order for your studies to continue to count toward the postgrad. With regards to permanent residency, we don't advise on permanent residency, but keep in mind that the work that you're doing or the time that you've spent in Canada while on your study permit, that doesn't necessarily equate to extra points for your permanent residency. So it is something that you're thinking very much in the future. A lot can happen between now and then. So I would encourage you just to keep connected with us. We do have presenters that come in from Express Entry that talk specifically about permanent residency and can help to answer those questions.
Okay, I can take the next question. So if you're a student who have online classes, I'm just answering the question here. The question is that my passport has gone for stamping. My classes start on May 17th. I have online classes. Can I start my classes even though my passport has gone for stamping? If you are in a program which has 100% remote classes, then yes, you can start your classes from May 17th. It does not affect you. All you have to make sure is after every new status that your visa goes through, make sure that you email your visa status. For example, in your case, you have received your visa. Make sure to send the visa status letter with all your details like your full name, student number to international@georgiancollege.ca so that we are aware of your status. Plus, we can make sure there is no possibility of hold on your account. Okay, Jenna, if a student cannot travel to Canada during the period of their program and their study permit expires, what to do?
So in this case, I'm not sure if you actually hold a study permit, like you've been in Canada and then you've returned home and maybe are starting a second program. So if you physically have a study permit that's expiring and you cannot travel to Canada to extend it, then you would have to apply for a new study permit inside your home country. You would want to do this certainly before your current study permit expires. And in that case, I would encourage you to work with an immigration professional in your home country to support you in that application. If you are a student and you're referring to maybe your POE letter, your point of entry letter, that's expiring, and I know that's been a concern from some students because you've maybe deferred your program from last year to this year. I believe that you would have to apply for a new permit. There isn't really, IRCC really hasn't made any changes to that. They haven't said that you could extend your POE letter at this time anyway. If that does come out, we will certainly let you know. But at this point, if you are outside of Canada and your letter or your permit are expiring, at this point, you would have to apply for a new permit.
I'm guessing that the student was maybe asking about the visa stamp that's on their passport, maybe study visa, if that is expiring.
So if your visa or tier, no, it's okay. No, it's confusing language, so it's good to practice using the terminology. So if your visa, that sticker in your passport, is expiring, if it expires while you're inside of Canada, that's fine, because remember that the job of that sticker is to get you to Canada to present yourself at the port of entry. So if you're inside of Canada, it's done its job. So you could apply to extend that inside of Canada until the end date of your status in Canada, which would be the end date of your study permit. If you are in your home country and for some reason you have a valid study permit, but your TRV has expired, then you could also, of course, apply for the TRV in your home country. The processing times are going to be different, and depending on where you are, and if you require things like biometrics or other pieces as part of the application process, some of those offices are closed down, but it is possible for you to apply in or outside of Canada with regards to the TRV or the visa.
Ashley, if in case someone becomes unable to register for their course for this semester because registration is full, what can be done?
So in these typical cases, if a course that you need is full, we often recommend that you keep trying because we're in what we call the add drop period. So students are able to continuously make changes to their timetables, meaning somebody could decide to drop that course that you're trying to get into, and then you would be able to register for it. However, in certain cases that may not happen, so we do also recommend that you speak to your program coordinator because they might have some other options for you to be able to do, or they might be able to provide you with further guidance.
I said beautiful, thank you. Sonia, how can I get information regarding my deferral updates?
Yeah, so if you'd like to get an update on your deferral request, if it's after 10 to 14 business days, and so after about 2 weeks, if you still haven't received an update, please just email intlrecruit@georgiancollege.ca, and then make sure you include your student number, just so we know who you are and how to check where your deferral is at. But yeah, so I would just email the international department and ask for an update.
Thank you. Jenna, my LOA says that my program includes co-op as a mandatory part of my graduation, but still IRCC stamped my passport in S1 category. Why? I am not sure of the terms.
So I'm assuming the student is inside of Canada? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Because they're just saying stamping the passport, and they said that it's under S1 category.
So that's okay. Like again, if I'm assuming that you're not inside of Canada yet, I would just go back to what I was saying earlier. If your LOA says you have a work component, you'll enter Canada. You may or may not be issued the co-op work permit at the port of entry. If that's not the case, then you'll apply for it inside of Canada. It's not, that is something that we can help you with. There is no cost to the application, but I would encourage you to do that right away. I mean, the CBSA officer may or may not issue that to you, again, if you ask politely or bring it to their attention. So I wouldn't be so concerned about what is on your passport right now, because sort of when you get to the port of entry, it may or may not happen regardless. So just be mindful that you do have a co-op, where it says that on your LOA, ask for it. If not, you know that there's a plan B to request it inside of Canada.
Thank you. I'm traveling to Canada after my classes start. Do I need to inform anyone about classes being missed, or what am I supposed to do? I can answer this one. So if your classes are in person and you are traveling after your program start date, so this is a new world. If you're traveling after your program start date, that means you will have to quarantine for 14 days and then you will be starting your classes. If that is the case, then please make sure you get in touch with your academic department right now, because you might not be eligible to start your program late. Program academic departments have very strict program start date, so make sure you do that. Get in touch with the academic department. If you have remote, I don't think that if you have remote classes, because you said that you have in-person classes. No, it doesn't say. Wait, after remote classes, do I need to? Yeah, if you have remote classes, then there is no point of you missing the classes. You can start your classes now, and the only day that you will be missing your classes will be when you will be traveling. For that, you can inform the course faculty for that particular course that you have on that day that you are traveling, and you will not be attending the class on that particular day. Ashley, is getting a timetable the final step in program registration process?
Yes. So as long as you followed the rest of the steps up until the registration process, registering into a timetable would be your final step in order to get fully ready for the semester start.
Perfect. Next question, I can answer this. Please kindly give us update that how can we join next week? Is it totally online or in person? Because I have in-person classes, but my Blackboard has different information. Yes, I'm aware of that, for most students, Blackboard does say that all classes have been moved online. But please disregard that. If you have in-person classes and if you are in Canada, please attend the classes as per your timetable. If it has in-person class, you will need to be in person for that. You are not affected by that. It's just a generalized information that's posted on Blackboard. Designing online classes, one sem or complete program. Okay, this is not relevant. The students need to get vaccinated before traveling to Canada. I can answer this one. It's not a mandate right now. If you are able to get vaccinated, do get vaccinated. The only thing is, which the question that I get is, do not do this that you get your first dose in your home country and think of getting a second dose here, because vaccinations, the vaccines that you get might be different there and here. So if you are thinking of getting vaccinated, make sure you get both your doses in your home country, or do not get any dose and then travel. Can I get co-op work permit in Toronto at Toronto Airport by showing my LOA to them?
So again, I can't guarantee that. Ideally, you have applied for both your study permit and co-op work permit at the same time in your initial application, and yes, you would be issued both at the port of entry. And as mentioned, you could politely mention to the officer that your program requires a work component if you're not issued one. But sometimes we see students where they've applied with their study permit, they've brought it to the attention at the port of entry, and they're still not issued a co-op work permit. That's fine. You can apply for that inside of Canada.
Perfect. I don't know who has an answer to this question. Is there any deadline for submitting a valid study permit? That means valid visa, study visa, that they have received a visa. My visa is still in progress. Please inform. So again, the student is in their home country right now. They've applied for the visa. They haven't got their full visa yet. I'm guessing they have their remote classes for this semester. The student asking whether there is a deadline for them to submit their proof of visa approval.
From my knowledge,
yeah.
Oh,
Thanks. I was gonna say I'm not sure. So maybe Sonia or Ashley.
Yeah. So if it's a remote program, you can continue studying the program. So there's no, as of right now for this semester, there's no deadline to submit your final visa approval. If you do receive a visa refusal throughout the semester and you want to withdraw, the extended deadline for that, oh, I just had it open, is July 23rd.
Okay, July 23rd, there's your answer. Thank you. Jenna, can we take a break in between the semesters if there is no official break in the program?
So the short answer to that is no. You must always be studying, actively pursuing your studies, be registered full-time, and making progress toward completing your program's courses. You cannot, unless there's a scheduled break as part of your program's calendar, which means that there are no classes, nobody in your class is taking, in your program is taking courses, which would sometimes fall in the summer semester, then otherwise you would be required to study. In most, I would say most programs at Georgian do not have a scheduled semester break because a lot of our programs do have co-op or work components and are continuous. And I do want to stress that for anyone who wants to be eligible for the postgrad work permit at the end of their studies, you must maintain full-time status continuously throughout your program. So any part-time statuses, any breaks in your studies could result in you not being eligible for that program. So it's very important to maintain full-time status, and remember that as an international student, what you do right now always affects, you know, your current status as well as your future immigration opportunities. So you want to be really careful if you ever go out of academic progression.
Perfect. Again, my program is AIDI and it is until December 18, 2021 of this year. But our study visa is till April 30th, 2022 next year. Can we work full-time after the program ends, which is after December 18 until next year, April 30th? Those 90 days.
Mm-hmm. So your study permit expires in one of two ways. One, when your permit expires, and two, 90 days after your program completes. So if your program is finishing in December and you have a valid permit until, I forget what it was, sometime in April, keep in mind that the actual expiry date of that permit isn't necessarily until April, it's only 90 days, so sometime in March. So that's one aspect. The second aspect you were asking is with regards to work. It really depends on what you are doing after you graduate. If you are starting a second program, that's a different scenario. If you're applying for a postgrad work permit, that's a different scenario. If you are stopped studying and you're just returning home, then that's a different scenario as well. But essentially, once you have been deemed a graduate by the college, you cannot work until you've decided what you're wanting to do next. So no to that question, you cannot work until April. There's many factors that would apply to that circumstance, and it would depend on which of those scenarios you'd be pursuing with. But there are restrictions on work.
Okay. Aisha, maybe you can help on this one. I'm not sure if students can see questions of other students, because I have a question here. My name is so-and-so, and this is my first time to use Microsoft Teams. And currently I can't see the questions which you are currently answering.
So the questions do come in privately. There's been lots about very specific questions. So if folks are asking very specific questions, we're responding privately back to students. For those that are broader, where we think it makes sense for all students to be able to see, you will actually see that in the published. So when you go to your Q&A, open it up and you'll see the stuff that we've already published in terms of questions. But all of the questions that are coming in are private until we answer it, just because some folks are wanting it to be that way so that we can get them the information that they need. But anything we think is general and should be pushed out to everyone, we are pushing that out to everyone. So you'll be able to see that, as well as Sid and Jenna and Sonia and Ashley are going through as best they can to answer them verbally as well. So if there's anything that you feel you haven't seen, just feel free to post a question and we'll make sure to respond to you, but we're just trying to be respectful of some people's privacy.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, Jenna, this is something new. If someone has a job in the home country and they are doing the program in Canada remotely, that means the student has traveled to Canada and has a remote program and studying inside Canada. Can they continue to work in the home country remotely from Canada? So studying remotely in Canada plus working remotely in Canada for their home country.
Okay, so you're inside of Canada and you have a part-time job that you're doing online for a company in your home country. Okay, well, I guess it depends on who's paying you. If you are required to use a SIN number, like if it's a Canadian company, then you would be restricted to the 20 hours, which is maximum that you can work while studying full time. If you are working remotely for an international company that has nothing to do with Canada, to my knowledge, then no, you wouldn't have any restrictions. However, you do want to be mindful that you are inside of Canada on a study permit with the purpose of studying full time. So the reason even why there's a 20-hour limit is because you're not here in Canada to work full time. So you would want to really be mindful of how many hours you are working, and I would encourage you to keep it to about the same amount, because again, the best thing that you can do for your immigration is do well academically. So you do not want to risk your academics in order to be able to work a few more hours.
Perfect. Are field placements included in the co-op work permit?
Yes, they are. So any work component as part of your program, paid or unpaid, will require a separate co-op work permit.
Okay, I don't know who has answer to this one. I know Georgian allow only one deferral, but what if we wanted to defer it to the next intake again? Will Georgian allow us free deferral if we can't travel at that point of time? At this point of time, the student has remote classes.
Yeah, I can answer that one. So yes, we have one deferral policy, and we stick to that pretty strictly currently. So if you've already deferred, and especially if you're in a remote courses, then you can complete your program remote currently. So you don't necessarily have to travel to Canada in order to complete your program. If you have a specific situation where there might be some extenuating circumstances, you can always contact us at International with a specific question or with a specific with your specific case. But the general answer is that we only allow one deferral, and after that you would have to reapply.
Okay, thank you. What should I do if I am eligible for work off and on campus, but I don't have this condition on my study permit? Jenna.
If you don't have the condition written on your study permit that allows you to work on or off campus, then you would have to basically go through the same process as you would to apply to extend your study permit, but in this case you would be applying to change the conditions. So sometimes that does happen. Sometimes it's a mistake at the port of entry, or sometimes there's a reason for it, or if you've completed EAP, for example, and you weren't allowed to work, now you're in post-secondary and you are. So if you're inside of Canada, that is the case, and you are in a post-secondary program and you're studying full time, then I would recommend that you sign up for a remote study permit session, and we can assist you in applying, in this case, to change the conditions of your study permit.
Perfect. For the time being between the two semesters, between the first semester ends and the second semester starts, those 10-15 days, can students work 8 hours a day, as in full time?
Yes. So if you're studying full time, then you are eligible to work maximum 20 hours and up to full-time hours during scheduled breaks. So that would include the period between semesters. You are able to work up to full-time hours. That's correct.
Perfect. Is co-op work permit mandatory for those as well who are not in Canada right now? And if I get a co-op in my home country, do I still need a co-op work permit?
So if you're not inside of Canada, you would not be issued a co-op work permit. So that would only be given to you if you've had the opportunity to travel to Canada. If you're in your home country and you are considering doing your co-op in your home country, I would have that conversation with your co-op consultant. But the co-op work permit is really to allow you permission to do work as part of your program inside of Canada. So if you're looking at other options, creative options outside of Canada, talk with your co-op consultant about that.
If I'm in my home country and I cannot travel, how can I apply for my co-op work permit after my course? Not after my course. Right now, I think.
So yeah, the short answer is that you can't. And we do have an FAQ on this. If you're not inside of Canada and you realized, oh, I did not apply for the co-op work permit with my initial application, unless you talk with your agent and that's something that they can make a change to, then there's sort of nothing you can do at this time. Again, same with the study permit, the co-op work permit would be issued to you at the port of entry. You cannot get this earlier. And with the co-op work permit, if you do require it, don't get at the POE, then you can apply for it inside of Canada. We can help you with that.
Sid, I'm going to jump in for a second if you don't mind. I'm sure you're playing catch up on some of the questions coming in. There are a couple of common ones, so I just wanted to make sure to highlight some of the ones that might not be related to Jenna's expertise, but there's been a couple of questions about students being in remote courses and wondering if I'm not in Canada, should I still attend my courses? So yes, I just want to make sure everyone knows this. If you have online classes, you can attend those in your home country. You definitely want to attend those. Really, really important. So I just want to make sure that messaging is very clear out there, that it doesn't matter if you're not here yet. That is exactly why we have remote classes, is to make sure that you can still access your education until all of this pandemic and all of the federal requirements and all of that start to get figured out a little bit more. So please, please, please stay tuned to Blackboard. If you do have online or remote classes, attend those, show up. That will be the way that you are going to engage in your learning until hopefully everything starts to get a little bit better here. So sorry, Sid, I just want to make sure that was extra clear, as we're getting lots of those in the chat.
Ashley, from where can we check a fee status as well as the amount due for the next semester? Any idea on that?
Yep, so you can find all of your account information regarding fees in Banner. So when you log into Banner, you'll click on, I believe it's the registration tab, and then view account summary. And you should be able to see a full breakdown of your fees for that semester, as well as previous semesters, which will show you your total amount. And if you've paid anything, it'll just show you what the remaining balance is.
Beautiful, thank you. I have 2 lectures for my general program, but there is the schedule for only 1 lecture, another one is TBA. So TBA means to be announced. That means it is not in your Blackboard or Banner yet, but it will be closer to the program start date. Okay, moving on. I've deferred from Jan intake to May intake, and I could not register for my program on Banner due to some issue. Till when can I register? What was the date for last year of AdDrop? May 28th?
Yes, May 28th is the last day that you can make changes to your timetable. If you're having issues with registration, you can definitely send an email to registrar@georgiancollege.ca. Please make sure that you're specific with what the issue is or what the error is. Include your student number, and then we can definitely assist you. And then again, as I said previously, if you want some one-on-one help, you can definitely attend those registration hub system sessions.
Amazing. Sonia, if you want to change the program, then can we view the other available programs? If yes, how?
So you'd have to contact us at International to see which programs are still available.
Okay. And when you contact, please make sure that you're writing your full name, your student number, the program that you're currently registered in, and do write your correct email address below that. My course is in person, but my coordinator allowed me to take online classes. So should I go for it? Anyone? I'm guessing that if the program coordinator allowed it, then you should go for it. provided it's really the program coordinator and not your friend telling that a coordinator allowed you. So make sure if you have that in writing from the program coordinator that you are allowed to start your in-person classes online for now, then go for it. But if it's your friend telling you that, oh yes, you can do that, or they have received an approval and you haven't, but since they have received, you're going for it, do not do that. Only if you have a written approval from your coordinator, then yes, obviously, you can go for it then. My class will start from Sunday, so should I have a question? Can I attend? Nope. I've paid full fee of my program for 1 year, but there is a balance showing in my Banner account. Ashley.
So if there is an owing balance in Banner and if you just recently paid, it could be because we haven't yet received and processed the payment to your account yet. Sometimes there is a delay, but if you did make the payment a while ago, it could very well be that you made some registration changes to your timetable, which could have some additional associated fees, or if you deferred from a previous semester and you've deferred to now, your fees could have also increased. So that would be why there is that outstanding balance. And if there is a outstanding balance, you are responsible for paying that on or by May 31st.
Perfect. Okay, take a break for 30 seconds. I'm just filtering the questions here.
Sid, while you're filtering the questions, I'll jump in just to remind students that there are lots and lots of great sessions coming up this week. So I know there are some, and in the chat I've been trying to say, stay tuned to this one, or this one's coming up later on in the week. So I do want to remind students, I know there are tons of questions out there, that we have lots of sessions to slowly get you the information that you need to. So if there's questions, I know there were a couple about one card. There actually is a one card session coming up later on this afternoon. And there was a couple about library, that's coming up tomorrow. Lots about Banner or Blackboard, that's coming up Thursday and Friday. So just a reminder that it's okay if you don't get everything this morning. We do have it planned out so that you have access to all of these wonderful supports and services, but just in baby chunks so that everyone can digest this information, because there's a lot to learn. So it's okay. I just want to encourage folks not to panic. I also want to give Jenna and Sid a break to get some water as they're doing a great job, but not to panic at all. We'll make sure to start posting some links in the publish tab, as well as I know we're referring to the international email, we're referring to some things on the student portal. So I'll make sure here in the last about 15 minutes as we're going to wrap up in a bit to make sure I get a lot of those links posted in the chat as well for all of you to open up. Okay. So did that give you enough time to catch up on where you are?
I got one question.
Awesome.
Thank you. Do we have to apply for work permit as soon as the program gets completed? My course is of 8 months duration, that is until December, but it is a 1-year program, which means next year, April. When should I apply for work permit, in December or April?
Okay, so just so I'm understanding, so the student, his program is completing in December, is that correct? Like
yes, so it's again the same classic case. The program is 8 months, but it's written as 1 year on the website.
Yes, yeah.
So they're asking whether they should apply for postgrad program in December or April.
So usually we would recommend students are applying as soon as they're eligible to do so. And as I mentioned earlier, remember, in order for you to be eligible for the postgrad, you have to be deemed a graduate by the college. So that would mean that you have been issued your final transcript and your letter of completion. And this would, if you're graduating in December, would probably get to you sometime toward mid to late January. The reason that I would recommend that you're applying around this time is because once you have received the letter of completion from the college, you are no longer eligible to work at all. And of course, you've completed your studies, so you're no longer studying either. So once you have actually applied online for the postgrad work permit, you are eligible to work up to full-time hours. So we see majority of students applying as soon as they've been deemed a graduate. So if you choose to wait a little bit longer, then also remember what I said earlier about your study permit expiring 90 days after you complete your program. So that would bring you probably sometime into the end of March would be your deadline for applying for the postgrad. But if you choose to wait during that period of time, then you're not eligible to work. So again, it just depends on what your plans are during that time. But not April. You do not want to wait till April. It would be more of March because you must apply for the postgrad work permit with valid status.
Okay, my internet is getting unstable, so I'm just going to switch off my video for a second here. I do not have a co-op in my program and I want to work inside Canada. Do I need co-op work permit for that or a general work permit? I'm guessing the student asking about the part-time job.
Yeah, no, good question. So you do not, if you do not have a work component as part of your program and you want to work off campus, then you are eligible to do so, but it would be a condition that's written on your study permit. So when you enter Canada, when you're issued the study permit, on it below, there should be a condition that says that you're eligible to work on or off campus. And it's with this condition, plus you meeting the conditions of being registered full-time and you having a SIN number, which would allow you to work off campus 20 hours. So you do not need a separate work permit to be able to engage in off-campus work.
Thank you. I'm just looking for any new question that we haven't touched so far. Okay, Jenna, if a student attends their whole program from their home country, are they still eligible to get a postgrad work permit?
So the way the rules are right now, as of today, your studies that you've done remotely outside of Canada still count toward the postgrad work permit up until the end of this year. Beyond December 31st, 2021, studies that are completed remotely outside of Canada are no longer eligible to count toward the postgrad work permit. So as of today, if your program extends beyond the end of this year, then you should be planning to travel to Canada before January in order for the remaining of your program to count. However, this date that I'm providing you has changed. It used to be April, now it's the end of the year, and it may change again. So because we can't really predict what's going to happen in the future, just it's good to be mindful of this and continue to check the IRCC website, check our FAQs, and if that date is adjusted further out in the future, then you will find it on there and you can make your decision accordingly.
Sid, I'll jump in one more time if you don't mind while you're going through the list. I've seen a couple of questions about Blackboard, so I figured I'll do a quick little summary for folks. So some students were asking that they were enrolled in comms or general education courses, but don't necessarily see it on their timetable. That's okay, and we actually have a comms and general education drop-in coming up on Thursday. But just so folks know, those courses are asynchronous. We'll get a little bit more into what does asynchronous mean versus synchronous, but asynchronous meaning you log on, and you complete the course yourself. So you will need to tune into when are the due dates for assignments and what are the expectations for those courses, but they do not have formal online meeting sessions like you're in right now each week. So keep in mind that if you don't see that, if you see comm and general education courses in your Blackboard shell, but you don't see them on your timetable, that's because you don't have a formal meeting time in your week. You need to go on each week and stay up to date to those courses. Okay, another question about Blackboard is that you might see there are some courses there, but it says unavailable. That's totally okay. What's happening right now is all of your faculty are actually going into their Blackboard shells and making adjustments and edits to make sure they're good to go for next week. So if you see that some courses are unavailable right now, that just means that your faculty hasn't opened the shell for you to see it. So they're still making edits or still adding things in. So not to worry, typically faculty will open it up either this week or even as late as this weekend to make sure everything is up there and accurate for you next week. Okay, so as long as you see it there, that's perfect. If it's unavailable, it's just not open yet. Okay, Sid, back over to you.
Thank you. Jenna, is our co-op experience counted in the 1 year work experience that we show for a PR file?
No, it's not.
We do not have any new question. That's why I'm taking my time to filter that and find something unique here. Just to clarify, maybe Jenna, you can do that. The question was that does the college support applications for the students who want to apply for PR?
No, we don't. However, we do have at least one semester a presenter come either in person or remotely, whatever the situation is at the time, to deliver a session on express entry and how to apply for that. But applying for PR is not something that we advise on, and it's not something that we can assist you directly with your application.
Thank you. Ashley, question is, I paid my full fee for winter 2021 and then I deferred to summer 2021. Now there is an increased fee for the deferral, not the deferral, but starting the program in summer. Students asking why is there increase in the fee for the same semester and same program?
So fees are reviewed and adjusted each academic year. So I don't have specifics as to why, but that's just how it typically works. Each academic year, fees are reviewed for each and every program. And if it does increase and you did defer, then you would be responsible for the adjusted outstanding fee.
Thank you. Thanks, Aisha, for answering the questions in between. That's really helpful.
While you're going through, Sid, I'll just share with students that I've posted a lot of links in the chat. So with the Teams Live, which is what we're doing right now, it doesn't save the chat afterwards. So I would encourage you, if there's a link that you really like, copy and paste it or open it up in a browser in the next 7 minutes here so that you have that link to explore. But I can't stress this enough, and I know Sid says this all the time on the live chats as well, is that the student portal is a really, really good resource for folks. So the latest link that I posted in there is the link to the international page on the student portal. And as Sid and Jenna really made sure to emphasize, is that that is accurate information and constantly being updated. So that is your go-to for a lot of these questions, as well as I've posted the international email for you to go to as well. And then Sid also is continuing to host live chats 3 times a week. So there's lots and lots of chances to access us and to get the questions you're looking for. So not to panic, but take a look at these links, maybe open them up or copy and paste them into a document just so that you have them available after this session ends, which will be in a couple of minutes here. So I just wanted to make that note.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Jenna, what would be the maximum allowed gap between 2 one-year programs in order to get a 3-year stay back?
If you're going to be inside of Canada, 150 days, which is 1 semester. So if you are planning on doing a second program, you could either do it immediately after you finish your first, so finish your 1 program in August, starting your second in September, or you could have a 150-day gap. which is the longest sort of period you can be inside of Canada and not study in this case. So you would be starting, based on that example, in January, and actually during that period of time, with certain circumstances, you would actually be eligible to work full-time.
Perfect. What can we do if the government bans international students?
I empathize that, like, it's a really tricky time right now, and if that question is more with the perspective of what will IRCC do, we've seen over the last, sort of 13 or 14 months, immigration has been responsive. They have been updating the regulations. They have been making lots of exceptions because they recognize that, the importance of international students, the importance of students studying, and they know that being in Canada, having a Canadian education, traveling to Canada is really important. So I can't say what's going to happen, but I can say that based on what we've seen, immigration, IRCC, will likely be, have some sort of response to whatever pandemic changes that there are to come. So all we can say is stay tuned and stay connected, and we will support you however we can to make sure that you're getting the proper information. And hopefully, in the meantime, we're just staying positive and staying healthy and staying connected.
Beautiful. Okay, Ashley, I've paid all my fee. The student has paid all the fees on April 22nd, but the payment still has not been reflected in the banner account. I'm worried since it has been more than 3 weeks ago. Is this a normal situation, or should I communicate with someone?
If you paid via Flywire, you could always reach out to them. Otherwise, I would send an email to registrar@georgiancollege.ca, just so we can have a look into your student account to see whether or not it's been applied, or if it perhaps went to an incorrect student ID. Sometimes that does happen. But if you did email, please ensure that you provide your student number so we can look into your account. And any other information regarding the payment, like the transaction number, the date it was paid, would be really helpful also. So yes, it is sometimes typical, but if you'd like us to look into it a little further, please do reach out.
Perfect, thank you. Aisha, I don't know if you have any information about this. I have registered for fitness and health promotion, but whenever I log in into my Blackboard, it shows me unavailable. What to do now?
Yep, for sure. So that is exactly what I shared a little while ago. So if you see the course on Blackboard, but it is grayed out and it says unavailable, that's okay. It just means that the Blackboard shell isn't live right now. So your faculty are making edits or uploading things onto it. The big thing is, as long as you see it there on your Blackboard shell, that's great. When it just says unavailable, it's just not open yet. And faculty typically do it a little closer to day one. So it might be sometime this week. It might even be over the weekend. So not to panic. If it's there, you're good. And it'll notify you, and most likely your faculty will post an announcement to let you know when it's live, and to introduce themselves and to let you know what to expect for next week. So not to panic, it just might be a little later.
Beautiful, thank you. Sonia, when should I apply for my second year program? Should I apply it after I'm done with my first year program, or in between my first year program?
You can apply for your second program at any point, really. So if you would start your first program now in May, and in June you decide you already know which program you want to do for your second program, you can contact us and then apply for your second program. The email to contact in this regard would be canada@georgiancollege.ca, and then they can help you with the process. So basically you can apply for the second program at any point after you started your first program, anytime until close to the start of the second program.
Perfect. And while you were answering that, can you also answer what is the last date for program change? for this intake?
It is day 5, and that is May. This is the third time I'm answering this. I should know this. It's May 21st.
May 21st. Okay, so that is it. I see most of the questions are repeated. What I do is I'm just gonna give details about the live chat session. If we were not able to answer your question, please feel free to reach us through emails or attend our live session, and we can answer your question there. We did not mean to leave your question unanswered intentionally. It's just that we did not have enough time to reach 400 questions.
Awesome. So I'll take it over from here. Thank you, everyone. So Sonia, Sid, Jenna, and Ashley, thanks so much for being on here this morning and to going through all of this. And I hope you get a drink of water and get to rest for a little bit after all of that. But thank you so much for your time this morning. I do want to remind students also that we do have a live chat on the student portal as well. So Sid also has the international one, but if you're looking for quick and simple answers as well, we have staff that are on the chat right now from 8:30 to 4, Monday to Friday. So Eastern Standard Time, keep that in mind, but 8:30 to 4, they are there to help and assist with any of that as well. So I know some of you who are on right now, you might have already found the live chat if you were experiencing any technical difficulties signing in. So those staff on there are also really aware of the orientation schedule and things like that as well. So if you're looking for a quick answer to something, utilize that because we do have people on the chat there ready to answer your questions. Thank you again, students, for being on with us this morning or this evening and sharing your time. I hope you found this really informative. I do want to remind you that this isn't the last time you get access to our awesome international team. They will be doing a session on Thursday as well. So make sure to tune into that as well for some additional important information for all of our international students on the call. And I just want to remind students as well that we are doing some random draws after every Head Start session. So the more you participate, the more likely you might actually win an e-gift card. And then we also have a grand prize at the end of our orientation schedule. So the more you participate, the more your name goes into the final draw to win a $250 e-gift card. So keep participating, keep asking your questions. It's a great way to get informed. I just want to remind folks that we have lots of sessions still coming up today. So right at 11, we are switching on over to meeting your student advisors. That one's really, really important as they are a key resource for you throughout your academic journey. We then had a couple of questions in the chat about scholarship and awards. So we will have a representative there to share with you all of those financial options for particularly our international students, as that's a common question right now. And then we're going to end the day with Meet the Peer Mentors, which is a phenomenal program. Some of you might have already heard me talk about it, but it's a great way to meet some upper year students and get someone who can really help you from a student perspective get through your Georgian journey. So come on out and check that out. With that, I'm going to officially conclude the session. We'll hopefully see all of you over on the next call at 11. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time this morning, and we'll see you later.
All the very best.